Today on the pod, I'm joined by a handmade furniture company. They're making some beautiful stuff. Think tables, desks, shelving, room dividers, that sort of a thing. Beautiful products. But this is a very tough market to operate in. I know because we work in it. And today's conversation is going to be fascinating. I've got some ideas, and this guest has given me access into their Google Ads data so that I can get in, have a peek, and give them some real live tips on what they should be doing and where they might be going wrong. It's going to be fascinating. Let's get into it. Welcome to Grow with Evergreen, the podcast designed to help you grow your business by providing practical insights into all things paid media, creative, and digital strategy. Every episode, we help home, garden, and lifestyle brands with their growth challenges by delving into their business, dissecting what they're doing, and defining a digital growth strategy they can take and deploy into their business. Let's get into it. Right, hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Grow with Evergreen. Stuart is my guest today. He runs a handmade and reclaimed wood furniture company. As I said at the outset, real variety of products, some beautiful stuff, I have to say. But this is a business, this is a market and a sector that is tough. It's tough to operate in. Why is it tough? It's tough because think how much competition is out there. Think how many marketplaces are out there. Think all the huge choice you've got to buy these kind of real quality wooden products. Now, they might not be to the same quality that Stuart and his team are making, but the average consumer has a plethora of choice right now. And so to grow a business online where you're crafting those products yourself, how do you do that? I've got some ideas, and what Stuart's done is he's kind of given me access into his Google Ads data because he is running ads, relatively small at the moment, and he wants to grow. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to delve into those marketing challenges. I'm going to set the scene for you in a moment. We're going to also go live into his ad account, and we're going to have a look around that and what's going on and what's working and what's not. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot that we're going to cover that you'll be able to relate to. And maybe you're doing some of the things that he's doing that's working and some of the things that maybe he's doing that is not working. And you might be able to take those same insights, those same ideas, and to pull them into your brand. That is the aim. Stuart's business is doing about 30K a month at the moment. He's got a few challenges, not least keeping those sales high. So just keeping that consistency of sales coming in, because you can imagine if he's making these products, how much time is he spending making the product? How much time is he then trying to market those products and do all of the other things you've got to do as a small business when you're looking to grow online? I know because I have to do it, and you've got to spin all of these plates, and it's no easy task. He's spending he said he's spending about 2K a month on marketing. So very small budget. Most of the budgets that we typically work with are quite a bit higher than that. So for that, we're going to see where exactly he's spending that, what's working, what's not. Fairly modest growth ambitions for this business. And we always ask, where do you want to be in 1 year? And Stuart said, you know what, I'd love to be just doing about 40K plus. So he's doing 30 at the moment. So if we can get that, that's a 25% increase. If we can grow up to 40K and then push on beyond that in the next year, that's going to be success. And then beyond that, we can push on. And I always say to every one of our guests that come on the Grow with Evergreen pod, I say, what does your business look like when it's finished? Whether that's 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, what does it look like? And what I really liked about what Stuart says, he said, we want to be the IKEA, but for reclaimed wood. That's some ambition. So he's got some questions. And as I said, I've got access to his data. So I've already pre-recording this. I've had a look through his data and I've got some ideas. But make no mistake, boys and girls, this is a tough market to be in. And I'm curious to see what he's doing, where he's doing it. And he's based down in Southampton. But I think he'll do it justice more than I will if we get him on. If you wouldn't mind doing the honors, Darren, we'll get him on and we'll let him sort of set the scene for us. Stuart, are you there, my friend?
Hello, yes, I am.
Good, Stuart. Glad to have you on the Grow with Evergreen pod. Thank you so much for joining me. Do you want to just set the scene for us? Who are you? What's the business? Over to you.
Yeah, thanks for the intro. So my name's Stuart. I run Robert Rose Carpentry. I'll probably just explain now that the company name is, of course, a lot of confusion there because I've actually named it after my dad, that's Robert, and my mother-in-law, who's Rose. So that's always the first bit of confusion to clear up. But yeah, we're a reclaimed furniture making business. We make pretty much everything. It's all handmade. It's we make anything you like, so as bespoke as you can think of. And I think, as you said with your intro there, maybe a bit ambitious with the IKEA of reclaim, but
aim big. There's nothing.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, if that's the aim, but we get quarter of the way there, then I'll be pretty happy. So that's us. We're a small team, but we've been going for 5 years, and yeah, as you said, hopefully just looking to try and grow and keep the business going.
Well, good stuff. We're gonna aim to give you some ideas in the next sort of half hour, 40 minutes or so. Before we came on, we said, where's the Robert and the Rose come from? So it's good that
I was very curious.
We were. So we now know that. So that's good to know.
Now you know.
That's cleared that up. I've also got to ensure that I don't call you Robert or Rose, to be fair.
No,
throughout this pod. So
I'm used to it. Don't worry.
I'm sure you are. So okay, so just set the scene for us then. So in terms of the business, who's making the products? What is your role in the business? Just kind of paint us how many people on the team, just so we can visualize what the business looks like, how it works day to day.
Yeah, sure. So we've got a team of 6 of us that are full-time. I've got 5 full-time makers, if you like. So they're the ones that are sort of creating all of the beautiful products and staining it and wrapping it, that sort of thing. I'm pretty much 90% office-based now. So I'm sort of doing everything other than the making. So the marketing, the sales, the HR, admin, all that sort of stuff.
Sure.
And then I do spend the other 10% of the time still helping out with the sort of more challenging stuff. And the more exciting stuff as well. So
how do you find that? So is your background, are you a carpenter? Is your background on the tools making these beautiful products or not?
So I'm self-taught. It's a funny one. My 2 parts of my family, I've got one half is scaffolding and the other half is carpentry.
Right.
So I'm not a trained carpenter, but as I said, my mother's side of the family, they are. So I've learned a lot from them, in particular my granddad Stan. But the guys that I have in the team, they are trained. So
Gotcha.
It's it sort of started with me sort of doing it myself and then taking on people that know more than me, basically.
Because I was going to ask, how have you found that transition? It's always an interesting one. If you go from being on the tools, you're in the thick of things, to then as the business grows, your role has to evolve. How have you found that? Are you quite happy sitting behind a desk doing all of that stuff, or are you missing the all of the hands-on stuff?
I think. I mean, my background's actually very different as well. My standard background, if you like, was in data analysis. So I am used to being an office person,
right?
But yeah, I think because I had done it on my own, I did actually start to enjoy it, especially when it's the early stages of starting a business. So I do certainly miss aspects of it. I think I'd probably just like to reduce some of the office work I'm doing and maybe spend a bit more time back on the tools. Just to make sure things go smoothly.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, I am naturally an office person, which
okay, right. No, that's
so it's not too bad.
So it's not, you're not like a fish out of water. So okay,
no.
And I mean, it's great that you're spending so much of your time that can be focused on marketing and stuff like that. But that brings us straight into your challenges then. Or I actually want to address the second challenge before the first one, which you said was time. Just having time to do everything you need to do. Why is that a struggle if you're able to spend such a huge proportion of your time doing it? Where are you losing the time? Like what does that look like?
I think there's just, as you said yourself, with spinning plates, running a business, there's just so many aspects, aren't there? And the conclusion I've come to really is you're not going to be an expert in all of these areas. So I need to slowly start, when the money's there, start divvying them out to experts that do know what they're doing. So yeah, I think with marketing, I suppose the time challenge is that there's just so many channels and so many advertising streams, and it's always changing. Yeah. So I just don't feel that I can spend enough time to be expert enough, if you like. Yeah.
Well, you're absolutely right.
There'll be whatever we need.
There'll be so many people that can relate to that. In that there are so many, just from a marketing perspective, so many different platforms, so many different channels. Everything, you should seemingly be on doing everything. You should have done everything yesterday.
Exactly.
And I get that. So. And that's what everyone thinks, but it's not actually the case. So what are the channels we're doing then? So you said on when you applied that you to come on the pod that you were spending about 2K. So on what platforms? What are you doing right now?
So it's primarily Google ads and social media ads. So Facebook, Instagram. We dabbled with LinkedIn, but that didn't go so well. So we're off that for the moment.
Yeah, I can't imagine LinkedIn's not for you. So
no.
Split. Do you know the split Google to Meta? What you're spending on search versus social?
I would say probably 2/3 Google, 1/3 social media. At a guess.
And what's your fine? And what is your market? So you spend a couple of grand a month. So and you think that split would be roughly that? So a couple of so 2/3, 1/3.
Yeah, 1,500, 500, something like that. Yeah.
Okay, fine. Okay. So, and what kind of return is that getting? And what are those campaigns achieving? And what is your level of understanding of what's actually happening? Are you building those campaigns? Have you got someone building those campaigns? how are they working? Who's running them?
So yeah, I started it all in house. It was all myself. I had someone inside who I was sort of passing it over to, and yeah, once they left, I just thought it's probably best to get someone external that knows what they're doing. Basically, I feel like I'd learned a lot, but you're never going to be as good as an expert in that field, are you?
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, I think the returns one, I've got to say, it's the hardest one for a business like ours to actually determine. I mean, I'm very confident that they all work, but if you looked into the raw data and just looked at how much are you spending and how much are you actually getting with people putting it in your basket,
sure,
that looks pretty poor. But I feel pretty confident that the reason behind a lot of that is because we're so custom what we do. We're not like this, like an IKEA, for example, where people see £100 item, they put it in their basket and they go and buy.
Sure,
we're more like a type of item where you put £1,000 custom gaming table in your basket, and then customers want to talk to us, so they phone up and then we send an invoice directly. So I think there's a lot of missed sales because of not missed sales, sorry, but missed data.
Yeah, in terms of
from the Google ads, it's not picking that up. Exactly. Yeah.
So if you're doing about 30K a month in sales, is that fairly consistent? Are we you're fairly consistent doing that? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say 25 to 35 is pretty consistent.
Okay, fine. And so do you know, as far as that is being tracked, do you know what's your understanding of where those sales are coming from? So what proportion of your sales are transacting online? So kind of an e-commerce sort of they're buying the product online versus those you're invoicing, stuff like that. Do you sort of have a sense of the split on that?
Yeah, I would say probably what is it? Probably a third Etsy, a third online from other channels, either direct or eBay, that sort of thing, and then a third people calling us up or dropping me an email and sending an invoice based on that.
So 1/3 Etsy. I'm just going to note this down. So 1/3 Etsy, 1/3 eBay.
Not eBay, sorry. You've got all of the other online channels, so our website and eBay.
Right.
So other channels, other online, basically.
Right, website.
Yeah.
Fine. Okay, grand. And then what was the last third, sorry?
And that would be people direct. So
okay, direct. Okay, all right. Well, do you know what? It's always good if you've got a split and you haven't got all your eggs in one basket. So we haven't got all of our sales coming from Etsy. You're going to be paying a premium for that. And your own website is always going to be better. So on an average month, how many sales are you making on the website?
As in direct sales, not people that have come from the website, and then 10.
Okay,
I
fine.
would say.
And do you know your average order value? Do you know your average order value?
Let's go for £500.
All right.
Roughly.
So fine. Okay. So because I think understanding the sort of as best you can in terms of where my sales are coming from. So how much are coming online? How many? Most customers with these sort of kind of purchases are going to, it's a considered purchase. So it makes sense that they're going to pick up the phone and want to speak to you because they may have questions and so on. So that does make sense. Are you, okay, fine. And this is just in the UK, right? We're only in the UK.
No. So we, primarily the UK. So we're probably 80% UK, but we do get customers from sort of Western Europe and the US. So
but you don't market to those audiences, do you?
We don't specifically. I think Etsy do on our behalf.
Fine, yeah. So they've just got a global reach. So yeah, fine.
Yes.
In terms of your own marketing, you're very much domestic based.
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Grant. Okay. So we're spending a few quid on Google and Meta. Fine. Do you know what types of campaigns you're running? Are you running? I know I've had a look at the Google ones, but within Meta, for example, do you know what you're running? Are you retargeting, prospecting?
Ooh. Catalog? Yeah, I think I don't know them all off the top of my head, but you've got your sort of what's the one that comes with the carousel, this sort of standard.
Okay, so you're just running
ads.
Carousel ads. Fine.
I think that's the main one, but then like you said, there is the whole retargeting one. So people that have visited the website.
Yeah. Do you know if you're doing that?
We are doing that. I couldn't tell you much more about it than that.
No, that's fine. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's just that. I mean, that absolutely you want to be doing that because with this type of product. It's, as you said, it's a considered purchase. So, someone rarely is someone going to wake up one morning and decide that they want to buy a, rustic kind of handmade table and they're going to decide on that first visit to the website. So making sure that you retarget, you capture their data ideally, and then you can retarget them just to keep the brand top of mind. That's a no-brainer. You definitely should be doing that. What is your strategy for collecting people's data? So if I'm on the website, And as I say, for anyone that wants to check it out, it's robertrosecarpentry.com. If I go on the website, and there is, by the way, some beautiful products on here. There's some really, really nice stuff. So well done, you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And well done to your team. Yeah, it's amazing. So if I come on here though, and I'm looking around, what are you doing to capture my data so you can add me to your email list, stuff like that? Have you got anything like that in place?
So I think we have mostly in the way of forms. So if you're filling out a contact form, you're subscribing to the newsletter.
Yeah, you've got your subscribe to the newsletter.
Yes, so we got that. I mean, other than obviously Google Analytics capturing the raw data, I don't think we're doing it in terms of capturing. I know you can do more, can't you?
I'd put a pop-up on this website to just incentivize. Do you ever run discounts, offers, that sort of thing?
Not often, if I'm honest.
Okay.
But it's a thing that we've considered a lot, and it's one of those ones, isn't it? I've always thought we don't want to be like a Domino's where you don't ever actually buy it properly, do you? You always wait for the discount.
Absolutely, no.
So it's getting the balance, isn't it?
Of course, and it doesn't always have to be a discount, but I think coming up, there's lots of ways. It doesn't have to be a discount. There's lots of ways you can incentivize your customers. Maybe because maybe it's a guide, maybe it's a resource. It's something you got to think. What are the pain points that you are, the pain points that you're servicing, and how can you educate and help? There's lots of ways you could approach this. But I think having something a little bit more prominent, maybe like a little pop up, something where you're wanting to capture the data, just first name and email would be super useful, because if you get 1 in 100 visits that is going to subscribe to your newsletter based on where you've put it, which is kind of buried at the bottom of the website, you'd be lucky. Yeah. So the vast majority of those people, I would be thinking, how do I get 5 in every 100 people signing up? Maybe 10 in every 100 people. If you could do that, because just being able to capture their data so you can retarget them, but also send them emails and updates and stuff like that, use that customer list to put into your other channels would be hugely valuable, because you've got to stay top of mind over a period of time, so that you just think, oh yeah, I was going to buy that. I was looking, we were looking into a new table, and they keep seeing the brand popping up. Whereas at the minute, and we'll get into what you're doing on Google, because there's some massive improvements there. But what so many brands like this do is, because as it is that considered purchase, is you work so hard for that first click to get someone to onto the website, but then 99 out of 100 people are just doing their research, they're just having a look around, they're looking at you and probably 10 others, and then they get distracted, they're off, and you've lost that click and you've lost that customer. So I think focus on retention. How do we get more from those we're already driving to the website would be, for this kind of small businesses looking to establish, looking to get those marginal gains. That is a massive part of what I would be thinking, how I'd be approaching this. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, perfect. Okay. Yeah. My first bit of homework. Thank you.
Good. So do that. Now, what I want to do is skip forward a little bit. We're going to come back to your questions, but I want to delve into the Google ads specifically, because as I said, I've done a little bit of a review of your account, and I can give you some pointers here, which again, you can relay to the chap on your team that is working on those, working on your account. And again, there'll be things here that others listening and watching into this pod will potentially be able to think, oh, I better check. We're not doing that, or we are doing that, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
good.
Your Google account says you spent about 5.5K year to date. So I always do from the day we're recording this pod, from the start of the calendar year, we've spent 5.5K in terms of, that's what Google's reporting. Now, there's a few issues with your campaign, or things that I would challenge you on in terms of, or the person that's running your account, and things to think about. Again, I'm not sure how techie you are with this stuff. I know you said you were self-taught. So if I start to lose you, just let me know and we'll rein it back in. I'll try and simplify things. But when it comes to, so a couple of things. When it comes to your conversions, a couple of things. So at the moment, you're pulling in your conversions, which is your sales and stuff like that, from Google Analytics 4. So you're pulling in your GA4 data into Google Ads. Does that mean you're with me so far? Yeah, that's how you're reporting. So that's how you're telling Google Ads, hey, we've had a purchase, or we've had this, and we're gonna use the GA4 data to tell Google Ads. That's fine, but it's not best practice. Best practice is to have Google Ads reporting on its own data. So you can put a Google tag on your website, and then Google will do a better, more accurate job, which ties into what you were saying about the actual performance of your ads. So that's
right.
And then what you would use is you would use GA4 as secondary. So when it comes to conversion tracking in Google Ads, and a lot of people will be able to relate to this, best practice, what you should be doing is you should be using Google Ads tag natively to self-report. Think of it like a walled garden. It's to self-report and then as primary. And then what you should be doing is pulling in and importing GA4 as a secondary goal. So primary is self-reporting, GA4 is secondary. That's best practice. That will get you a more accurate data than what you are pulling in right now. So that's just something that, again, you can take, you can go and update. It requires a little bit of work, but if you've got someone on your account, very easy for them to do. So that's one thing. Now, the big thing, or there's a few things. The next thing I really want to go through is in your campaign, where you've got your conversions, you've got 3 goals, essentially. You've got add to cart, you've got begin checkout, and then you've got purchase. Yeah, they're the 3 goals that you're tracking in your ad account.
Yeah.
The problem you've got is that someone has assigned, you're pulling in those goals from GA4, but you are assigning the value of the add to cart and the value of the checkout and then the value of the purchase. The problem with doing that is lots of people will be on the site and they might add multiple items to the cart. Yeah. But they have no intention of buying them. They might just, it's like you add 2 or 3 items because you're maybe considering buying one of them or whatever.
Yeah.
At the moment, because you're importing those goals from GA4 into Google Ads, and because you're importing the value of those goals, so let's say I add £10,000 worth of product into the cart, because that's a goal that's being tracked. What's happening is Google is using that as, that was a goal that was triggered because someone did add something to cart, and hey, they put £10,000 worth of product in. What that's doing is it's inflating the perception of your performance within Google Ads. So to put some real numbers on this, year to date, your cart value came out 57K. The checkout value, which is when the next steps, so from adding to cart to actually go to checkout, dropped to 12, and then the purchase value dropped again to 3. But what Google Ads is reporting is Google Ads is thinking that you made 57,000 worth of sales. You didn't. According to Google Ads, you only made 3K worth of sales. So do you see the problem that's causing? Because what it's doing is when you look at your account data, it's making things look way better than they actually are. So around that is you can, as I say, best practice, don't import from GA4, have them natively. But even if you were to keep them GA4, what you should do is just assign a nominal value of like £1 or no conversion value. Have no actual value, because people can add stuff to cart all day long. But if they're not actually buying it, you don't want to assign any value to that event.
So rather than making it a value, you'd make that just 57 on its own sort of thing.
So if that makes sense. So what you want to do with add to cart, if you think of add to cart as its own goal, it's good to track that, because you want to see how many people add to cart, how many people go on to the next stage, and then how many people go to actually buy. So it's great to be tracking that. But what you don't want to be doing, and what you are doing currently, is you're assigning a value to the add to cart. Does that make sense? So and there is no value to it, because I could go on your website right now and add £10,000 worth of product to the cart. Just in doing that, if I came from Google Ads is going to go, hang about. You've got a goal there worth £10,000. This is fantastic. Isn't our Google Ads data looking amazing? But you haven't, because I haven't purchased 10,000. I've just added it to the cart. So what you want to be tracking.
So just simply remove the value then. That's
remove the value.
Remove the value.
Remove the value, because then you're going to get more accurate. You'll see that I've added some to the cart, but there's no value assigned to it until I've purchased.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, makes sense. So
that makes sense. Yeah, definitely.
You'll get way more accurate data if you start doing that. So that's one thing. Now, the next thing, I'm looking at your ad account. So as we're going through this, the next thing is there are 11 campaigns running in your account at the minute. 9 of them are search campaigns, and then you've got I think there's 2. What have we got? We've got one, and then 1 shopping, 1 performance max. So you're mostly running a search campaign. Nothing wrong with that. The only issue, as I would see it, and this is all again, this is about so you can improve this, so you can get better results. That's why I'm giving you these recommendations. 7 of those 9 search campaigns are on max clicks. I don't like max clicks.
Yep.
Max clicks is not good. Max clicks, and I'll tell you why. Max clicks as a strategy, if you think what that's telling Google is It's saying I just want volume. It's saying I just want as many clicks as you can get me. It's essentially saying, don't worry about the quality, don't worry about the relevance. Just give me volume, pile it high so I can effectively sell it to you, which you're not doing. We don't want that.
No.
It's far better. Now, sometimes there are scenarios where max clicks is amazing in the short term. For example, if you've got a new campaign or a new account and you just want to get some volume in, you want to learn, you want to do some data mining, you want to understand how people search, then in those scenarios, it can be brilliant. If you need to
more for research.
If you need to kickstart a campaign, for those scenarios, brilliant. But for these campaigns where you're running them consistently, max clicks is sending completely the wrong message. Now, what you've got here is you have got huge amounts of data in your account. So loads of clicks, loads of click data. So what I would be doing if this was my account is I would be pulling off that data for the last 6-12 months. I would be looking at the search terms. These are all search campaigns. So I'd be looking at the search terms report. I'd be looking at what are the terms that people search? How are they buying? What are they actively looking for? What are the key products? What are the key searches, etc. And then I would be looking at simplifying those campaigns. I would have fewer campaigns. I think there's too many. On your budget, you need to focus on identify the 1, 2, maximum 3 product categories that you sell the most. So I would be saying to you, look, do you make more margin with the gaming tables or the dividers or the office desk? Like choose 1 or 2 product lines where you consistently sell the product. It's a good margin. There's a good profitability in it. You sell a decent number of them. I'd be focusing on, rather than trying to spread yourself too thin. And it's classic. I see it all the time with brands, is trying to spread yourself too thin, go after it. Oh, well, we have 10 products of categories. Let's advertise all 10. No, let's prove the concept with 1 or 2, and then we can grow from there. Let's get the first one profitable. Then we can bolt on the second, then the third, and so on. With your budget,
that makes sense.
I would be pulling off a combination of because is your website Shopify? What is your website?
No, it's WooCommerce, WordPress,
fine,
WooCommerce.
Fine. So I'd be pulling off your WooCommerce report, looking at your product performance at a product and a category level, and you're probably going to know that anyway. What is your best-selling products? And then I would be looking at your data, and then I'd be focusing in your campaign and your budgets on specific one or two specific categories. And I would, in terms of bid strategy, I would be turning those either onto, and you might want to run this as an experiment, either to a manual bid strategy, because frankly, with that much data, you're going to know how people search and what you have to pay per click to get in front of those people. And then you could slowly dial that up to increase your search impression share.
Okay.
And I would be split testing that with target impression share. Do you know what that is, target impression share?
No, I've not heard of that. No.
So target impression share is essentially where you are saying, look, I know how people search because you've got those search terms. You are saying, I know who's looking, I know how they're looking, I know where and when they're looking. And what I want is I want a portion of that market. So as long as it's relevant, as long as the quality's there, then I want 30%, 50%, 70%, 80% of that market. Now, you won't get all of that depending on your budget, but it's a way of saying, it's just a way of saying, I want quality and relevance, and I want a piece of that market, which is what you ultimately do. And I think that is a good split. It's going to give you more control, and it's going to send the right buying signals to Google.
So that's changing it from max clicks to target impression share, or is it not quite as simple as that?
Yeah,
it's
much,
that. Okay.
Yes. But what you've got to do is you need to pull off the data. You need to simplify this. So, for what is, if I was to say to you, think of your product, all of your sales over the last year, what would you say is the best-selling product you've got?
Yeah, that'd be room dividers, definitely.
So room divider, and what's if I was to purchase a room divider? What is it? A set, or what am I looking at spending?
So the average, I'd say, would probably be £400. So you'd be looking at eight individual panels. But it very much depends on what space you're trying to split. So the wider the space, the more panels. But
as an average, about 400, 8 panels,
400,
about £400. Okay, grand.
Yeah.
And what would be your margin on that? Have you got room to buy a customer if you're selling those?
The analysis on it all is sort of changing. It fluctuates,
sure.
I think 15% is probably not a bad place to start.
So what we need to make sure is that we selling that product at that price point, there's enough margin in there that we can afford to buy a customer. And then we need to understand what we can afford to buy that customer for. And then we need to understand how many have we sold, how many people search for them, and so on and so forth. So, for example, if I look at your data for the last 6 months, and we'll just look at how people search. So the most popular search terms are room dividers. You've got keywords where you're targeting things like room dividers, and the various synonyms and various synonyms and similar terms. I would probably argue going more specific would be better for you. So, for example, like wooden room dividers and stuff like that would just be a little more descriptive, a little bit more reflective of what you've got. Because otherwise, if you're going for just a simple room divider, that is going to mean many different things to many different people. So I think being a little bit more descriptive would be a good thing to do. And then it's understand.
Yeah, I didn't think we were bidding on room dividers, but maybe that's sometimes they creep in, don't they?
Yeah, I think it's certainly coming up in your search terms report. Yeah. So
I see. Okay.
Yes, it might not be bidding on it, but in terms of Google seeing it as relevant, and therefore it's giving it because it's not excluded. So, but again, it will be a part of the reason for that will be because you're on a max clicks bid strategy. Because if you think what max clicks is saying, is it saying I want volume? Just give me volume.
Yeah.
Google's going to look at that and go, well, for every one person that searches for a wooden room divider, there's 100 people that search for a room divider because they might be looking for a 20 quid option from IKEA or something. Because of that is case in point of why max clicks is the wrong strategy. Whereas if you went with, say, a target impression share or even a manual where you'd have more control, you could cultivate that, just make sure that what you're targeting is a little bit more relevant because you're saying, no, I only want to appear if it's wooden, if it's this, that, and the other.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I must have thought, I thought we were doing something along those lines, but I need to double check that then.
Yeah, it's just, and these things you can just feed back and say, are we doing this? Can we do this? And making sure you're covering the bases. So I would be, if it were me, if it's my account, I would be steering clear of a max clicks for the reasons we've discussed. I think you also, as I said, the conversion value side of things, that is really important to get that right so that you're not feeding in conversion value where there's not conversion value. The only time I want Google knowing that you've made £1 is when you've actually made £1.
Yes. Yeah. That makes sense.
Fine. Couple of other things, and you can note these down, or you can listen to this back or watch this back, and then sort of take the actions from there. As a campaign, as an account, you're not leveraging audiences. So within if I go into one of your campaigns, and we go into the dividers is arguably your most important or most visible, most popular campaign within your account. There's a thing called audience segments in there. And again, lots of small businesses don't leverage this as fully as they could. And if you think this is a way of just describing to Google the type of customer that we want, so how they might be searching or what they might their demographic, their geo-targeting, all of that good stuff. And Google will actually, when you go into this section, which you can find under the audiences, keywords and content section of Google Ads, when you go into there, you can Google actually prompts you with essentially advertisers like you. These are some of the ways in which you can help define your ideal customer avatar. And so for you, and these aren't enabled right now. So things like it's people that are looking for interiors, home furnishings, home and garden, living room, bedroom. So very much, home decor enthusiasts. There's lots of characteristics that are very descriptive of, yes, if someone's interested in and they're looking for products to do with the kitchen and the dining room, or they're home decor enthusiasts, logic would dictate that they're the sort of people we want to get in front of, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So, if someone is actively looking for and searching for doing searches around kitchen and bathroom cabinets, I should imagine we want to be in front of those people, and similarly, there's home storage and shelving. So there's lots of character traits, search behaviors that you can quite literally just check on. You can check those boxes. And the great thing is you have two options when you do this. You can do targeting or observation. If you just do observation, then what you do is you're just saying, I want to earmark these types of audiences. Don't just bid on them, but I want you to record the performance of them. Then when you get some data, you look at that back and you can actually say, well, blimey, people that are actively in the market for home storage and shelving or home decor enthusiasts, etc., they seem pound for pound to be converting at a better ratio than what is happening when it's Joe Public. Therefore, I do want to target those people, or I do want to bid a little bit more for those people, and you can do that. So that's, again, really quick, easy win.
I always thought it was a case of the audiences were something that you populate or upload yourself, so like your own customer list.
You've got that as well. You've got that as well. So there's all that's what I've just described there is one part. So that's just search behaviors. You've then absolutely got your customer list you can upload. You've got the whole retargeting piece. So there's a whole bunch here. That's another. It's just another very easy string you can add to your bow, which will further improve your performance.
Okay, perfect. Like I say, it's
with this, you've got you've got a limited budget, and you're really taking those first, tentative steps when it comes into the world of Google and looking to get those returns. Applying these things will take you to the next level, will scale up, because you're just going to make every penny and every pound you're spending work that much harder. Because we're going to say, no, don't just give me volume, but give me relevant clicks. You're going to be saying only attribute value when there is genuine value there for my business, money in the till. Yes, I do want to focus in on those audiences, because I want to make sure that if they are actively in the market and looking for this stuff, hell yeah, I want to get in front of them. All of these marginal gains have a compounding effect to make a much improved ad performance. There's one other thing I want to give you, which is location. So when it comes to for all of your campaigns, you can set the location targeting. So, and you do this on a you can do it at the counter, but you mainly do it at the campaign level. With this, you've got, and again, you might know, so you're targeting the whole of the UK or the whole of England.
Yeah, most of it. Yeah.
And then you've also, in addition to that, so you're not doing Scotland or Wales, you're doing the whole of England, but you've also got lots of postcodes in there. Where did they come from? Have you?
Yeah. So is that? I think there's a few separate campaigns where there's different location strategies. Is that right? Is that one particular campaign?
This is one campaign. Yeah. This is the one where you're spending the most.
Yeah. I think that was exactly what you said there. I think that was an attempt to sort of look at postcodes individually.
Fine.
But whether that campaign's doing better, again, going back to the time thing, I don't think we've had the time to sort of analyse that.
I get it. You're spinning all the plates, and this is the thing. This is really just to give you food for thought. But so that's fine. There's no issue with you having England and then lots of locations within it, because it will actually give you the ability, if you get statistically significant data, it will give you the ability to be able to see, actually, such and such location seems to convert really well. We seem to get a lot of customers from this town, this city, this location, or more from the north than we do the south, or whatever it might be. It'll be able to tell you that. So that's good. No problem with that at all. What I wanted to mention in here is there's a little setting which so often people miss in the location settings of your campaigns. It's under location options, and you have two options. So I'm going to read them to you, because you've selected the wrong one at the minute. So you have one that is called presence or interest. And what it says, based on the location targetings you've set, we're going to target people regularly in, or, and this is the key one, who have shown interest in your target locations. That's what you've got selected. What the other option 2, it's called presence, and it's people in or regularly in your target locations. The reason this is important is because the first one, the key phrase there is people regularly in, or have shown interest in. It's the or have shown interest in. Because what essentially that's allowing Google to do is say, hey, they may not be in your target area. They may be in Scotland. They may be in France. They may be anywhere else, essentially. But hey, they've shown an interest, which is very flexible.
Yeah, they visited there.
Right,
yeah.
They've done something. They've shown an interest. They were previously on another site that was somewhat related or whatever, and therefore there's an excuse. It allows Google Ads to show your ad to those people, which essentially what it does is it negates the need, or it makes your targeting irrelevant for the most part, because you're saying on the one hand only target these locations, but you're saying, well, they can be in those locations, or they could just be showing an interest in them. All you've got to do to improve that is switch it to the other option.
Yeah, that makes sense. I suppose you can't see what their criteria is behind that third one, can you? If you could see that, then you might be able to make an informed decision. But
you can't. You literally have two options. You have, option 1, which, funny enough, is their recommended option, which we don't want. And of course, pretty much everything from a lot of what Google is Google recommended is about giving Google more autonomy, more control, and you as the business, you as the marketer, less control. And for me, I'm a paid media marketer. I want to give Google as little control as I can because I want to be in control. I want to be in the driving seat of my campaigns, not Google. I want to leverage Google because it's hugely powerful, but we want a level of control. So, I think those kind of things, there's a few other bits and pieces, but I'll send them to you after this because there's a few other bits and pieces which I could just help your team to further improving this, which I'll ping you afterwards. But there's just a few things, sort of 4 or 5 things that are specific in your ad account that I wanted to just be able to give you that you can take. You implement all of those things, you will see an improved return, no doubt about it.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, good stuff.
I know there's a bit of work there, but that's the aim of the game, isn't it? You got to start somewhere, and then it's just making slow improvements, isn't it? So
and
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
That's what Evergreen Pod is all about. It's about coming on, and I can then go right. Even if you just implement 1 or 2 of those things, that's going to improve the brand's performance. Great. You're going to if you make an extra couple of sales a month, that's going to get you nearer that 40K and beyond, and you push on. And if you're not having to spend more, but you're getting more per pound that you're investing, why wouldn't you do that? That's what,
perfect. Exactly.
Winner, chicken dinner, as they say. So I want to skip forward, if you wouldn't mind, to your questions. You had one. So your first question that you asked was, what are our thoughts on AI images in the ads? Just expand on that. And I'm going to bring Darren in on this because he is Mr. AI.
Oh, yes. My ears are pricked up now.
They really did. I saw his eyes light up when I mentioned AI. Why have you asked that question? What's a bit of thought process on why are you considering it?
Yeah, no, it's just it's the big thing at the moment, isn't it? The buzzword, if you like. And we do use like Photoshop backgrounds just because when the customers at the moment, our workshop's quite busy and hectic. And quite often they'd like to see what their furniture would look like in a nice environment.
Sure.
So we use it for that. But then I'm just thinking for adverts, it's not a one-to-one thing, is it? You're not having a direct conversation. So it feels almost like you don't want to lie to your customers, do you?
I think
too much that's fake, but
it's a sensitive area. And I think there's obviously a lot of debate going on around that at the moment, and I think the general rule that I would say is it's probably the safe bet to definitely avoid making an ad entirely with AI, because I think the biggest sort of debate around AI at the moment is it obviously taking away work from people who actually do the jobs. I mean, I would often say that using AI as a tool to enhance your work. If you've already either got someone else to do it or you're already doing it yourself, I think that's absolutely fine. I mean, we use AI in the stuff that we make. We obviously don't use AI to make the stuff, but we use AI to enhance the things. I mean, sometimes say, for example, when we're doing our thumbnails for YouTube, sometimes there's just something in the background that I want to remove, or I want to extend the background a little bit to one side, and we'll use AI to do that. And so, I think as a general rule, don't use AI for the whole thing. But use AI to enhance the work that's already been done by either yourself or someone you've paid. I think, obviously, that when you're doing AI on someone else's work, you obviously need to sort of get permissions and all of that. But if it's your own stuff, then I think it's okay.
I think especially if you're not actually changing the product, that's the important thing.
Exactly.
As long as your product is what it is, it's if it's just a bit of changing of aesthetics.
You've used it in some really clever ways for us. As you say, some of the things just there's things there that you think, oh, get rid of that or change this, or just as you say, enhance it. Just little tweaks.
But you're not changing the actual product.
No, exactly. That makes sense.
So the next question you asked was, and this is an interesting one. And Darren, I welcome your thoughts on this one as well, actually.
I was just about to mute myself.
No chance. You asked, will there be another major social media platform in the next 5 years? Which is a really interesting question. What do you think? I've got quite a controversial thought on this.
Okay.
I've not even talked about this before. So there is a part of me that does think, I think there's a play going on here. I think we're going to see the re-emergence of Twitter.
Interesting.
And I think Twitter's going to come back.
It's not called Twitter anymore.
No, I know, but I think it might go back to be called. This is like proper out there.
Okay.
Because X, someone who uses X, who talks about it, right? No. But wouldn't it be a play? And
Don't let Elon listen to this.
But wouldn't it be? Well, he is a regular listener, you know. But wouldn't it be a thing if it went full circle? There's something.
It would be very interesting
because you know.
You don't think Threads is going to take over?
Is it though?
Doesn't seem to be, does it?
It was all the rage for about 5 minutes, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
About TikTok Notes.
I don't
never heard of that.
TikTok, I know nothing about. So it's for me, it's more of a. Wouldn't that be something if it did? Like you saw the emergence of Twitter. I don't know.
Well, I mean, people like what they like.
Yeah.
People, it's difficult. You can't teach an old dog new tricks, as they say. And I think there are a lot of people who did love Twitter. And obviously, those people have been hit a little bit with all the antics of Elon Musk.
Yeah.
A lot of people have walked away from the platform. But there are still a lot of people posting on there.
Yeah.
I think in a lot of ways, I mean, people will always call it Twitter, no matter what it's called.
Yeah.
So in a lot of ways, Twitter will always remain.
Yeah.
I mean, as I just said then, Threads is obviously Facebook's version of Twitter, which is kind of there, kind of not really there.
Do you hear anyone talking about that?
Not really. The only instance I see of Threads is when I'm on Instagram and it comes up with a Threads post. And then every time I press on it, it takes me to Threads. And I'm like, oh, I didn't really want to go to Threads.
Yeah.
And then
it feels like it's too little too late, I think.
It kind of does.
The ones that are there, people are sort of sorted now, but things do change, don't they? You know,
they do.
And these platforms didn't exist at one point.
Do you remember that Clubhouse a few years ago? That was a flash in the pan. Do you remember Clubhouse?
Clubhouse?
No, I don't.
What's Clubhouse?
Where have you both been?
Oh, it's Clubhouse.
Oh, was this during the pandemic?
Yeah.
Where you meet? Wasn't it called something Party? I thought. No.
I swear it was called Clubhouse. I'm not imagining this. I'm going to have to Google it.
No idea
I'm not
what
making
you're
this
talking
up.
about.
Clubhouse.
I'm sure there was something where you called people in the pandemic and you could see each other, you know, just like a video calling basically. But
yeah, it was.
I think we've just lost half of our viewership.
Yeah. Clubhouse. There is. Hold on. This is. I'm going to have to look this up now. Friends over followers.
Clubhouse.
It was Clubhouse is a social audio app for iOS. And
Never heard of this.
what's it called? Clubhouse? Is that the one I'm thinking of?
Maybe we should make one called Clubhouse.
I feel like I know what you're talking about, but yeah, I can picture it. Has it got a pink background or something?
Oh, I can't remember. Someone will be watching or listening to this and then can add it in the comments. Go, no, you're all wrong. You're talking about X.
They're all gone.
Is it called not House Party? It's not that you're thinking of, is it?
No. I swear it was Club something. If it's not Clubhouse,
okay,
I can't remember.
House Party was definitely the one I was thinking of.
Okay,
leave your thoughts in the comments.
Yeah. It's okay. So I don't. Will another platform come in the next 5 years? I don't know.
I think the platforms will come.
Yeah, whether they
stick, successful is another question.
It is. And I loved your last question, which was, what are the biggest? You asked, what are the three biggest challenges? The biggest changes. Sorry, I can't get my words out. Changes in marketing in the last 3 years, and then what will be the next three. Lost the ability to talk. It's good for a podcast, isn't it? I know, it's all good. Is this the Clubhouse thing? It's just ruining me. It's ruining me.
Yeah.
What are the
taking you down?
The three biggest changes in the last 3 years, and then think about the next 3 years. So I would say in the last 3 years, data attribution has changed beyond recognition in terms of, we've moved from GA3 to GA4. Fundamentally, that has shifted everything in terms of how conversions, goals, even revenue is attributed, not least because of privacy, GDPR, data protection, all of that really techie, really boring, but really important stuff. I think that's had a fundamental shift. Every retailer, every brand I speak to is struggling with how to attribute their sales, how to understand which channels and platforms are working. And frankly, they're having to take an omni-channel approach and rethink attribution. So I think that for me is probably the biggest one. Taking an omni-channel approach to their marketing and understanding that the average customer, the average consumer is going to have multiple interactions across different devices. You can't attribute all of that value to a last click. So you can't say that ad was the silver bullet. I think that is a bitter pill to swallow for a lot of brands because they want to go. It's like there's a great saying, isn't it? I don't know who it's by, but there's 50, it's an old saying, but it's 50% of my marketing works, 50% doesn't. The trouble is I don't know which part works, and that is so true, and arguably got even more complicated because it's like a lot of our marketing works, but can you attribute it and go that is the silver bullet? Very difficult.
Yeah.
And I think again, one of the other biggest changes we're seeing in the sector we work in, the brands we work, just increased competition. It's the barriers to entry now, not least because of Shopify and all of these platforms. It's so easy to bring a product to market or a service to market and seemingly start doing your SEO and your paid ads and this and the other. That just the sheer volume of competition has gone up. I speak to so many brands that have got amazing businesses, and some of these are doing millions. And yet they say, 3, 4, 5 years ago, we were the first people to market. Whereas now, we've seen the market being flooded with competitors, and people are new competitors coming every week. And what we're seeing is lots of people coming in, undercutting them. And you're probably seeing a bit of this as well, undercutting them with the view of just taking market share. They know the business model is not sustainable. Often they will be gone within 18 months, 24 months, but they come in, they disrupt, they take market share, they cause you a problem, they don't last. And because the barrier to entry is so low for lots of sectors, that's a problem. And that leads me on to what I would see as the biggest change stroke opportunity for the next 3 years is one of the best ways thing that we're advising brands and working with them proactively to do is build the brand. Because having a brand, not just a business, but actually a brand is a great way of overcoming that and not being a race to the bottom when it comes to price and competing on price. So, and then the other things is I think privacy and data protection is going to continue to evolve and be scrutinized. If you think the move to first party cookies now, and then I think we're going to continue to see an adoption of more video and storytelling. For brands. I think brands are going to increasingly see, we've done T-Talks on this where we talk about, use video and storytelling to showcase the product, showcase the lifestyle that for us, lifestyle is a big part of what we do in terms of the products we market. And tap into the storytelling, the behind the scenes type of, storytelling for brands. So
that'll make sense.
There's just a few things that what we're seeing across the myriad of businesses we work for. There's some of the things looking back and looking ahead. Yeah,
definitely. I think part of that is if you're buying from Etsy, I have it a few times where people think Etsy are who they're actually buying from. So it is that case, and isn't it? Once you've got the sale, you need to make sure that it is. Yeah, it's come from them, but they've not actually had they've not made the table, have they?
Exactly.
So it's letting people know who you are.
Exactly that. And there's hopefully you're putting in all your flyers and your brochures in with the products and all of that good stuff, right? You're doing that.
Not enough, but yes,
you
a bit.
The answer is yes. Definitely do that.
Yes,
so
yeah, exactly. That's what I
meant. Be doing that stuff. But what I meant by you not owning the customer is absolutely because this is the problem, and these third party platforms, they absolutely have a role to play. You don't want to be overly. I would be, if I were you, I would be wanting to dilute, as I'm sure you are, that reliance on Etsy because you don't own the customer. Yeah. You're not getting their data. It makes it more difficult for you to build a relationship and nurture the brand.
Exactly. Which is in part Google's the first step, isn't it, to get away from that? Exactly. But then I guess the next step after that is to get away from Google. But that's a bigger challenge.
All of them play a role. Just don't have an overlap on any one of them. Spreadsheets.
No, exactly.
Have that. Yeah. Have sort of no more than 10% of your sales should come from one customer. Have a similar mindset approach when it comes to your marketing. Diversify. Be doing some offline marketing. We haven't touched on retargeting. Are you doing that on Google? Because if you haven't got a standalone campaign.
Yes, good question. Actually, I don't know off the top of my head. I think we mentioned it on Facebook, didn't we? But not sure on Google. On
Meta, I haven't on Meta. Make sure you're doing retargeting. You're loading in your customer lists. You're loading in your Google data, so you can keep your brand top of mind. And also make sure you're doing that with Google itself when it comes to retargeting. That'll be really powerful for you. It's all these little things when it's a small budget. Little marginal gains can make a huge difference. And if you could get increase your average order value or get 2-3 more sales a month, that would transform this business, give you way more margin, mean you could take your monthly budget up from 2 to 5, suddenly into 10k. Suddenly you're pushing you're getting 750 a mil and you're going from there.
Yeah, sounds good to me. That's the you promise. That's the vision.
Exactly that. How have you found this pod? Have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, no, it's good fun. It's I don't think I've done a podcast before actually.
Well, there you go.
It's nice. It's just nice to chat to people, isn't it? To get different people's perspectives and opinions, especially where you're an expert in your area. So
Well,
Yeah,
good.
it's been good fun. Thanks for having me.
No, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on and and being so honest and open. Really appreciate it. Please pass this on to the chap that does your marketing and stuff like that, and get them to implement those things. Because I promise you, if you do, you'll see that you'll reap the rewards from it. And yeah, thanks for thanks for being on. Keep us posted how you get on. And as I said, I will follow up this. I'm going to ping you an email because I've got a few other suggestions of things that I want you to implement within your Google Ads account. But I think again, we'll continue to move the needle a little bit more of the nitty gritty. But I'll send you that afterwards.
I appreciate that. Perfect. Thank you, Aaron.
Look after yourself. Thanks so much, Stuart. Appreciate it. Take care, buddy. All the best.
Cheers, Em. See ya.
There you go.
Bye.
That was Stuart. Went into quite a lot there. Felt like I did a lot of talking and got into the nitty gritty. It's super handy when I can get into the data because I can teach you very specific things. And as I said, I'm sure there'll be things on there that you've seen and heard me talk about that you think, actually, do you know what? I need to check that. Are you pulling in those goals from GA4? Because if you are, use Google Ads Tag. You'll get more accurate data. If you Google Ads, reports on Google Ads. Have Meta Ads, report on Meta. And then use all of those things. Still look at what GA4 is telling you. Still look at what Google Ads is telling you. Still look at what Meta's telling you. Also, still look at your WooCommerce or your Shopify data to see what that's telling you. And by looking at all of those things, you'll be able to build the clearest possible picture. The other key things, make sure your bid strategies and what you're doing make common sense. Do you want to be just going after any and all clicks, or actually would being a little bit more just descriptive, a little bit more specific and saying I want quality over quantity, that can often be the thing to move the needle. Then you've got audiences, locations. There's so many areas, there's so many ways to waste money within Google. It's why you need someone in your corner. So there might be us, it might be someone else. Doesn't really matter. What matters is you've got someone that knows this stuff that can be making sure that the money you're spending is being spent wisely. We'll leave it here for this one. I hope you enjoyed it. Let us know what you think in the comments. And if it is Clubhouse or if it is something else, let us know, because that is really going to bug me. And
I'll be thinking about it all day.
But let us know. And thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.